Hello, everybody. Getting set up for part 3 of our webinar today. How you doing out there? Oh, thanks for the love. I'm just waiting for my co-partner Leroy McKenzie to join us. Just waiting for him to, join the podcast. Not the podcast. I'm still got podcasts on the brain, y'all. Okay, waiting for my boy Leroy. All right, let's see. All right. All right, come on now. Okay, let's see. Waiting for him to join in. Hello out there. Okay, we're going to get started as soon as I can get Leroy connected to this podcast. I keep saying podcast. To this thing. To this thing so we can get started and share all this really good information. So I'm just waiting on him. All right. Hey, Carla, how are you? Okay. So it looks like Leroy might be having some technical difficulties, but we are going to start momentarily for part 3 of the 21st century, how to start and grow your business clientele. So, all right, let's see here. How you doing, Trey? Good evening to you. Glad you're joining in. All right. Okay. I hope everybody enjoyed the warm weather today, because over here in the East Coast, it felt like it was about 60 degrees over here. So hopefully you had a little bit of warm weather where you're at too. Okay. I apologize for the delay. I'm just waiting for Leroy to connect. Oh, okay. Let's see if he's there now. Okay. Da, 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 da. While we're waiting for Leroy McKenzie, is there any questions from anybody who's watching this broadcast that may have a question about finding your clientele? If you have any questions down below, just use the chat window and we will answer the question and see if we can help you with that. Okay, I'm gonna wait one more minute and then I'm just gonna go ahead and just get started for part 3. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully Leroy will be able to join us for part 3. I think he just texted me. He might be having technical, and you know how that is on Facebook Live. We have technical difficulty, so please bear with me because he has so much great information, y'all. I don't want anybody to miss what he has to say in our meeting today. Okay. Try one more time to get him on here. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and try to get started here because I know in the interest of time, people have things to do. Today is part 3 of the 21st century, how to start and grow your business, how to find your clientele and everything. And tonight, Leroy McKenzie and I are supposed to be together, Batman and Robin, like part 1 and part 2. And would love to have him on here. And I will still continue to try to get him connected as we are going along because we are on a mission. We are on a mission to make you better in 2018 than you were in 2017. And that is the whole goal of the BMWOC website, is to bring you information that's going to help your business. So this particular webinar is really for the smallest of businesses, those who are starting out for the first time and able to, you know, do what they need to do, try to get moving forward with their business, you know. So it's really all about giving you that information that you're going to need so that you can do your business plan, that you can find your clients, that you can do your marketing strategy. And that's what this webinar is really all about. So if you didn't get a chance to catch part 1, which is just your basic, what do you need basic to just start your business off legally, to do it right, to have a really good foundation. So check out, go to the videos tab here in the group, or check me and Leroy out on our YouTube pages, and you can catch the one we did last year that has the slides, because we're really just regurgitating information that we shared in our webinar last year that we did with GoToMeeting. So a lot of people in Facebook didn't get a chance to catch that broadcast. So definitely check it out on YouTube. You can catch both versions. You're going to get one with a slide that has information in it, and then you're going to have one that actually has the one here in the Facebook Live where we're interacting with you. So again, use the chat window to see if you can, you know, answer, if I can answer any of your questions, and if I can, I will research it and get the answer to you, because that's what it's about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So part 2 was talking about marketing. So you definitely want to also, if you missed the marketing one, go to the one for marketing in the videos in YouTube, because that one actually tells you how you can do marketing for very low cost. If you're a very small business, you don't have a lot of money, how do you make flyers? How do you make brochures? How do you do your website? the importance of having a domain email and not Yahoo and Outlook and AOL. It gives you all of that information that you need to know on how to market your business the proper way that most small businesses doing, because a lot of times we skip steps because we want to get it out there, but we have to kind of take a step back and do the right steps. So I'm going to get into this thing. I was going to check one last time to see if Leroy is on there, and I don't see him. So I'm going to just keep on going. I think he's trying to connect, but is having issues. So one of the things we want to talk about is we're going to just keep it 100, okay? We're going to keep it 100. Finding clients is very, very hard to do. It is the most difficult thing in your business because your clients can be virtually anywhere. They could be all over the world. They could be next door to you. It requires you to really put forth the effort and take a lot of time to find who is your target audience. And this is really important because, as we talked about in part 1 and part 2, that you have to understand your concept. It is really critical that you understand how your business is going to be supported by your idea. So you're coming up with this idea, and the next step is going to be, okay, how am I going to convince people to pay for my product? You have to exert value, which is what we talked about in marketing. And then once you have those two pieces, you have to translate that information into an actual paid customer, somebody who actually sees the value in your product and sees what you're trying to do and put a dollar figure on it, that they trust that the product and service you're giving them is worth the money. Because just like when we go to the store, if you really think about it, we go to the grocery store and there's like a whole thing of fruit, or there's a whole thing of meat, and we will sit there and nitpick which fruit looks the best, which one is worth 50 cents versus $1. And we're always thinking about the value of what it means to us when we spend our money. So you have to kind of get that mindset that when you're looking for clients, that you have to go and you have to take that translation into that mindset and say, hey, I need to figure out what do they want that I have that is valuable for them, right? So that's the first thing. So doing due diligence and doing due care is what you're going to need to do in order to find your clients, okay? I have a philosophy that says learn and adjust and keep at it. This is something you have to practice to do all the time. It's something that you have to develop a formula for. So just like you have a formula or method to your business, you have to come up with a formula and a method to find clients and keep clients. And most of that is, like we talked in part 1 and part 2, is building long-lasting relationships. Building a relationship with your customer before you even introduce money in the picture is so important. And so that's what you got to do to learn, adjust, and keep at it, right? And the fourth thing is that you never want to give up, because everybody is not going to see the vision. Everybody is not going to see your value. Everybody is not going to want your product or service, and you're not going to be a fit for everybody. So just when you thought that you're not going to get that client, it's always the next one that you're going to get. And so I want to encourage you that this is something you have to build a niche to do. It is something you have to figure out what my business is. How am I going to show value, and what niche can I create that's going to tie all three together, and boom, somebody is going to see the value in what you do, and they're going to want to be a part of it, okay? So one of the other things that's also important, because we always talk about the importance and then we talk about the how, is that what is lead generation? Okay, a lot of times we see that terminology, we don't really understand what lead generation or client generation is. And I'm just going to kind of give one definition off my presentation right here, where it says that lead generation is really just the action and the process of identifying and cultivating a potential customer. Okay, so you want to identify your customer, and then you want to cultivate your customer for any kind of business product that you're doing. Okay, so that's what you want to do. So once you identify who that is, You want to begin the process of cultivating them, meaning building that relationship, getting to know them, what their needs are, what problem can you solve for them, and what product or service do you have that will resolve their problem. And that's the cultivating part that you want. The second thing is, as far as cultivating, is that you also want to have the process of attracting your customers. So when we talked about marketing in part 2, then we also talked about how do you go about attracting your customer? What are you doing in your marketing practices that is attracting that person to you, that want to say, ask questions about what kind of stuff do you want, or what kind of, product can you offer me that's going to help my business, right? So when you're coming across somebody who you don't know and you want to turn them into a paid customer, there has to be some kind of connection that you have to make with them. And so attracting them is the first part, and then cultivating them is second. Also, when you're talking about lead generation, okay, you also have to think about what is your brand stimulating in their mind when they see your brand, okay? So last week we talked about how McDonald's and some of these other companies are using things to promote their brand and to make it memorable, right? So when you're cultivating a customer, for them to be a paid customer, and sometimes it could take a while. Some people are just instant. They'll just buy your stuff right away. And then some people will just take a while. They'll think about it, right? You got a lot of people that would do that, okay? They would just think about, maybe I'll do it. But you also have to stimulate their way of thinking. And you have to stimulate how they are, doing it. Let me see. I think I just got a message from Leroy. Let me see if I can do it. Okay, so we're going to see if he's able to join in the meeting. So I'm going to continue until we get him on here. So let's see. I think I see him now. All right. I think I see him now. Thank you guys. I'm on there. So like I was saying, that you have to invoke that stimuli in their mind. So like, for example, when again, because all of this lead generation really ties closely with marketing practices. And the reason why you do that, because when you're sitting at home, have you ever thought about when you're sitting at home and all of a sudden you go, I just want some McDonald's, or I just want a Pepsi, or I think I'm going to go out and buy me some Nikes, or I'm going to go out and buy. You're thinking about these shoes day in, day out. You waiting until you get paid to get these Nikes, right? So that's what I'm talking about. You have to come up with something in your brand that makes people say, you know what? I remember this company, and they have something that I want, and I'm going to plan my money, and I am going to wait till I get paid, and I am going to go get so and so. That's the kind of stimuli that you want to have for your business. So when you're thinking about your strategy, you think about your concept, you're thinking about your marketing, and when you're talking about your customers, before you even go out there and you try to attempt to get a customer, you must have those 3 things. So Leroy, I see you made it.
Man, I tell you, I'm trying to talk too loud because of where I am. So I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me fine. But
yeah, I keep going through some of the lead generation definitions with folks, because those 3 things I felt like it was important and everything. And I guess I'm gonna go ahead and continue, and then we're gonna bring you back in and stuff like that. So we'll flip it today. We'll flip it, okay? Okay, so hopefully he's still there. He looked like he's a bit frozen there, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it straight. So, all right, now let's get into the nitty gritty, because usually Leroy does the why and I do the how. So we're gonna flip it today. I'm gonna do the how, and Leroy's gonna do the why. Okay. So here are your targets. This is where you're gonna find your target. Okay. First one on my list is membership groups. Membership groups are really good places to find all types of clients, because with memberships, everybody has their their motive of why they want to be in this particular group some way or another. The good thing about memberships is that it allows you the ability to build relationships as you are being a member. And it also gives you easy access to be able to kind of like tap the next person and say, hey, did you know that there is this service out there? And before you know it, you're having a conversation. Before you know it, you're out having lunch together. And before you know it, bam, either you're going to be their customer or they're going to be your customer. Okay. So just look at membership groups as something that you want to do. A lot of times they are free. Like go to meetup.com. There are tons and tons and tons of meetup groups that you can join for free. I know I'm doing 2 of them in the month of March. So make sure you come out. That's a good way to meet people. Another place is schools and colleges. So if you are a speaker or you're someone who's an influencer, going to universities and becoming a mentor or becoming, a faculty or helping them in any kind of educational way, that is a great way of fostering relationships and getting customers, not only for the students that you are helping, but you're also building a relationship with the faculty and the universities so that they can pay you to come out and speak. Or it will help elevate your organization or your business to be able to go out there and get more business. I can tell you, for me, just mentoring for universities has done tremendous things for my business. I have been able to connect with people I never even thought I would be able to meet in my life, just doing that. And yes, it's free. No, you're not getting paid, but the payoff is that you are growing the awareness of your business. Okay, so doing that. Another one is organization affiliations. There are great organizations out here that you become a member of, or even just be an affiliate, or maybe they sponsored your stuff. They are tremendous resources because not only do they know people, but they know people who know people who know people, right, Leroy? They know a lot of people. So just having an affiliation with an organization, especially if you pick the right one, is really going to bring your business far. And those customers will come because they will hear about you. And all of a sudden, somebody will call you out the blue and they're going to want your service because somebody knows somebody that need what you have. So you definitely want to do that. Of course, we do have events, social gatherings. You definitely want to come out to events because, believe it or not, concerts, events, dinners, that's where you meet your customers. Those are the ones that all of a sudden you're like, you met somebody who you never thought you would meet. I have met tons of people through all kind of different events, just going out and just meeting with them and sitting with them and talking with them. And I'm not selling them or anything. I'm just telling them what I do. And then all of a sudden I got introduced to like 5 new people. And that's how you do it, right? You also have your family and friends, your word of mouth, and you also have your marketing strategy. You got telephone calls, you have social media, you have mailing lists, you have your church, you have the grocery store. I met clients in the grocery store. I met clients at the the Girl Scout, where you buy Girl Scout cookies. I met clients there. They are everywhere. You just have to find that pitch. And I want to encourage you to really go back and look at part 1 and part 2, where Leroy was talking about defining your elevator pitch, defining what you say to people when you meet them. You don't want to just walk up to them and just immediately start saying, I'm a mentor, I'm a this, I'm a that, and I do this and I do that, and I can help you get. No, you just go straight to a very cordial conversation. Let them understand who you are as an individual first before you try to sell. And I guarantee you, next thing you know, they're going to start hitting you up. They're going to start giving you connections. You're going to start getting more clients, and you're going to start moving your business forward. Right, Leroy?
Absolutely, absolutely. You
Yeah.
gotta be on point with that.
Did you have any points to that at all?
Well, I think you're hitting on the key areas as far as where you need to be, and we talked a little bit about it, like you said last week, with the marketing and understanding being where you need to be and where your clients are, and we're going to talk a little bit about that when I get into the how, so that individuals can understand before you get to the where, you got to get to the how. How are you going to be able to reel those clients in? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But she's right. Those places that she talked about are crucial to being able um, to be able to find to be able to find your clients and your customers and understand where your target market is. Because if you're not going to meet them where they are, then they're not going to come knocking on your door.
Right. A lot of times you have to go to where your clients are because they're not going to always come to you. One of the other things I touched on, and I apologize if I didn't post it, but I will post it in this one, is that you need to understand the demographics of your clients. And last week I talked about how we have different age ranges for the different areas in which you are marketing to people, because this is very important. It really comes down to just simply knowing what your customer likes, knowing who they are. Do they like to spend money all the time? Do they like to just be on social media and look at certain type of posts? Do they have a certain color that just when you make your post and you choose like the color in Facebook, do you get more reactions when you have black versus red or red versus yellow? Do they like to hang out on Fridays? And if so, what groups are they hanging out at on Facebook, or social media? And then you also have to look at, what are the age ranges? So for example, I talked about last week how, Facebook likes, I say the Facebook people who use it are 19 to 45. Those are the ones that like to do, side grind businesses. They have their groups. They like to sell and all of that. Those ages are 19 to 45. Then you're looking at Instagram. Those are the young generations. They like to post pictures and fun stuff. So if you kind of just sit back one day and just take a moment and just really look at the type of posts that people are doing, it will give you an indication of who is really in your target, what groups you really need to be in, all that kind of stuff. You also have to look at Twitter. That's even in the middle too. That's 20 to 45. But then you have to still look at the different type of tweets that go into it. You tweet one thing, you might not get nothing. You tweet another thing because somebody else is not all of a sudden you have 500 followers, right? That's how you have to do. And I'm still learning how to leverage different types of social media. And I'm even thinking about getting Hootsuite or one of those other platforms that manage like my whole entire social media, because it's a lot. I noticed that I get more action from people on LinkedIn in the morning than I do in the afternoon. So that's another thing you kind of think about. And I get more traction from people on Facebook at night than I do in the daytime. So I have to kind of maneuver my schedule around to accommodate my marketing to the people who I'm trying to target, if that makes sense. Right. So
Makes absolute sense.
yeah. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about before Leroy comes in is I'm going to talk about the technology platforms out there. Technology is everywhere, and a lot of this stuff is pretty much free. There are a lot of free apps that you can go out there and test for your business to help generate clients. Some of them are CRMs, which you call the customer relationship management databases. Besides using Excel, these platforms like HubSpot, Eventbrite, I'm going to tell you, Eventbrite is a great way to find your clients. You can go out there and look at all the different events that relate to what you do and find out what are they doing in their marketing that's getting people to like buy
Mm.
up these. It is hard. It's not going to happen all the time. I went out there and just did a test. Like I did one that was one way, and I did one that was another one. I got more traction for the one that I didn't think that was going to do anything, but because everybody likes that trend, I started getting more traction than the other one. And so you have to kind of go out there and play the fiddle, as you will, to check out what are these people doing. Salesforce is a little bit expensive, but if you know someone that can kind of help you with that program, it's really a good lead. It'll go out there and tell you all kinds of stuff like where they shop, what they do, how much money they spend, what companies they work for, and it helps you decide what to offer them, especially if you offer a product like jewelry or clothes or something like that. It'll really help you. You also have LinkedIn Feed and you have Score, which is also another small business mentoring, which has tons of information on how you can market to your business. So those are just some technology in addition to the hundreds and thousands of apps that are out there. I think somebody had sent me an app, Leroy, I can't remember. They sent me an app where you can actually have people sign on to my app and I get paid because they signed on to my app. And
Mm.
because they use my app, I get like a percentage, and then the company gets like 10% or something like that. And it's just another way to generate clients. It's another way to generate money. So that's another option. And those are some of the things that, you have to be consistent. You have to know what you're doing. And so I'm going to turn over to Leroy, because Leroy has some other great information to share. And I'm going to post some of these slides in there as the final, so that people can have that and can reflect on that. And I also will post the YouTube channel so you can catch last year's again, because we actually have the slides for these things, and you don't have to try to write all this stuff down. So Leroy, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about the importance of this thing here.
Well, before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to tag on to what you just talked about and the importance of marketing. And I'm going to use the example of Black Panther. And everybody knows that the movie Black Panther is coming out tonight, tomorrow, when most people are going to be going to go see it. Now, they started marketing Black Panther last year, and here we are, February, and I'm talking it was like mid to late last year. So you're talking a good 3 to 6 months. They started talking about targeting that movie, and they started talking about this movie, and they defined who their market was, and with this movie, and they knew going after this particular market segment, they were going to have to do certain things with the movie. And what they did, part of it was the trailer, part of it was the cast going out and actually talking about the movie, what was in the movie, and everything like that. But they used specific areas in order to be able to target, in order to be able to market to their specific um, market that they wanted to capture with this. And I mean, they have done a phenomenal job of capturing their target market and getting them out, because it wasn't just about marketing. It was actually getting people to take the action of going to see this movie. I mean, the pre-sales for this movie have been off the chain. So I know it's going to break all kinds of records. And as a entrepreneur, when you are doing when you're seeking out your clients, you have to understand that you got to, say woo them, but you got to know exactly where they are, exactly how to get to them, and then how, and not only we're going to talk about this last, but how to get them to take action, and not only take
Mm-hmm.
action, but what I'm going to talk about too is meeting their need. There was a need for this kind of movie. Trust me, they could have put this movie out, but if there was not a need for this kind of movie, and even movies in general, if there isn't a need for this kind of movie, you wouldn't have seen the groundswell that you've seen for this particular movie. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm going to get into 5 points really quick tonight, um, and gaining your clients and how you gain clients that you, or customers that you want. The first one is developing your 30-second pitch. The second one is defining your client or customer. The third is be in the room. Ann and I talk about that all the time, being in the room, knowing where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Four is be the answer to your client's problem, and that's going to be key. I'm going to really hone in on that one. And then the fifth one is always be closing. And what that is how can you serve your clients? How do you serve your clients? Those are going to be the
Right.
five things that we're going to get into. So the first one is
Yeah.
developing your 30-second pitch. And we talked a little bit about this last week in the marketing aspect, and even in the first part. Your 30-second pitch. What is your 30-second pitch? That's you talking about who you are as a business, who you are, what you do, and how you do it. You do that. You should be able to do that within 30 seconds of meeting anyone. Like Ann talked about, meeting people in grocery store, meeting people everywhere. You should be able to drop on them in 30 seconds who you are, what you do, and how you do it. So you want to make sure that you have those three key things within your marketing plan: who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Because if you can't explain that to somebody quick and succinctly, you'll lose them. You will lose them right away. So you have to be able to explain to them in 30 seconds who you are, what you do, and how you do it. So the second thing is defining your client, and we talked about that last week as far as your marketing. And that's why it's key to have a marketing plan and a business plan, because this will allow you to be able to not only define your business but define your target market, and to be able to understand and know exactly what Ann just said about where, when you go to these events, when you're in the room, as we'll talk about next, you know exactly who it is that you need to talk to in the room, because it's not just about being in the room. It's
So,
about
Leroy, I want to drop in one of the tips that we learned last year when we went to a marketing class, because we
Mhm,
went to one. One of the
mhm,
things that the facilitator had in her class was that she had us do two columns, one for a woman, one for a man, and she actually told us just like this: I want you to take your service or your product and I want you to put it up at the top. And then I want you to tell me what age is it servicing, what area, what
mhm.
behavior, what happens if they don't want it? How are you going to convince them that they're going to do it? And you're going to do that for a man and a woman. And you can just put an age range. So, like for instance, if you're trying to target kids from 15 to 25, and then you want to have target kids from or adults from 25, they're totally two different behaviors, right?
Mhm.
So, what would do is that it forces you to be able to write down the type of customer that you're looking for in your business plan. So you can't really say like I'm trying to target all the students in school. You have to be very specific. And I'll give you an example. You say I have to target students ages from 11 to 19 who are living in this area, who is experiencing these problems, and this service is going to help them to do or resolve this thing. And that's how you're going to know what your client is. And you would do that for man, woman, child, group, event, and it was very helpful because she was able to help us break it down and really understand the behavior of the customer that we're trying to. And that's a really good example how you want to define it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see JC had a question about, yes, it is an elevator pitch, JC. That is exactly what it is. It's your 30 second pitch, 30-second elevator pitch. And what it is the way that you're actually, you still have to define those three things with it, even if you haven't launched yet. You still want to know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. That's the
Why don't
premise of.
I just get one real quick? Okay, so like if Leroy came up to me and I said, "Hello, my name is Ann Austin," and he'll say, "Hello, Ann Austin. It's nice to meet you. What do you do?" Well, I am a systems engineer and I work for this organization. And at this organization, I manage these files and do these things and handle these projects. And I really love what I do. And I've been doing it for 25 years. That's it. It really is that simple. And if you're very confident in saying stuff like that, it's really going to come off very approachable. And then that's going to drive them to ask you more questions. And before you know it, then they're going to be interested in what type of service or product that you're going to be offering to the owner.
Right. And what you want to do with your 30-second pitch, why you say who you are, what you do, and how you do it, because that's going to define the, the the answer to the problem that you solve. And what
Right.
you'll find is with your anybody that you're approaching, you want to show them that you have the answer to the problem that they're looking to solve. Everybody who's looking to buy something has a problem. They're looking for a particular product or they're looking for a particular service. So that's their problem, that's their issue. So how do you solve it? I tell them how I can solve that particular issue, because I offer I offer publishing and business consulting to start a
Okay.
business or grow their business or write a book or or looking to increase their brand with their books. That's what I tell. Now, if that's someone who is looking to write a book, then that's going to get them to, like Ann said, ask more questions. Then we can go into more detail about it. But the 30-second pitch is to answer the question, is to define for you what answer you have for that particular person's problem that they're trying to solve. So that's what that's going to do for you.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the best things to do before, to work on your elevator pitch is to actually get them to talk about what they do first. So if you will actually be more defined and more successful in your elevator pitch if you learn a little bit about what they do first. And a lot of times in that conversation, you will hear what they're looking for. You'll actually learn like what problem are they having or what are they looking for, or what they hope to gain in this conversation. And then while they're talking to you, you can kind of develop what your elevator pitch will be without like in your face I'm trying to sell to you. You know what I'm saying? And it'll come across more of that you're really trying to help them as opposed to trying to sell them, if that makes sense. So
and yeah,
yeah.
and it's definitely not selling it, and because and that's how you don't want to come off as if you're selling something. What you want to do is you're solving a problem, and if you look at your business in that perspective, when you talk to any of your target market or anyone who is looking to use your product or service, you show them the value in the product and the answer to the problem that you're trying to solve for them. And when you do that, they have a different way of looking at you. Oh, okay, they're not trying to sell me something. They're trying to fix a problem that I had. You know,
Right.
yeah, and that's what it is. It's fixing the problem that you have. The next thing we talked about is being in the room, and that's understanding where your target market is and going to the events like Ann said, going to meetup.com or even the events that are going on around in your specific area, or even traveling, going to conferences that you may go to. Ann mentioned the conference that we went to last year, the connections that you make there. You go there for that specific purpose. And something that Ann said too, if you listen to them first, they're gonna say keywords. Almost you should be like Google. When someone says keywords to you, you know, hey, this is somebody that I know I can answer their problem. You know, I have the answer to their problem. Exactly who you should be talking to in the room. You know, that once somebody says 5, 10 seconds in, you know whether or not that's somebody that you need to be talking to. Now you don't be rude and just just walk away or anything like that, but you still know, okay, this is not somebody's problem that I can solve. I don't have the answer to that particular person's problem that they have or issue that they have. So understanding that, being in the room, knowing who to talk to in the room is crucial, and understanding that who are the people who have the problem that I have the answer to. Look at it from that perspective, and that leads me to what I was just talking about: be the answer to your client's problem, and that's how you approach it. I'll give you a perfect example. To Yesterday or today, I'm sorry, today, I knew I had to get my car looked at, and I knew that there was something wrong with my car because my battery indicator light came on. So when that battery light indicator came on, I knew that I had a specific problem. I knew I had one, I had to get my car looked at. But then two, my thinking was, who do I know? What mechanic do I know that can solve my problem? And I have several mechanics that I know of, but there was one specific mechanic that I know who I knew he was going to, one, have the answer to my problem, which was to fix my car, figure out what was wrong with my car, but then two, be able to fix it, and then three, give me the quality service that I wanted to have, where I could trust him with my car, because I don't want to have to continually have the same problem. So, what did I do today? Called him up, said, "Hey, my battery indicator light is on." He said, "Cool, bring it in, or get it in. I'll take a look at it." Got it over to him. He looked at it, said, "This is what your problem is. This is what needs to be done." I said, "Okay, all right." I said, "Let's fix it." And he took care of it today, within matter of a couple of hours. So who do you think I'm going to tell about next time somebody needs their car fixed? I'm going to tell him about TJ Superior Automotive because he took care of my car, and honestly, I got that connect through one of my clients because it's her husband. He's a master mechanic. So when I needed something done, I had someone that I could go to. By being in the room with her, I was able to have someone who could take care of the problem that I had, which was getting my car fixed. And now I got a mechanic for life because I'm tell everybody I'm told everybody about him because he done fixed a couple of issues with my car that I had. So that's what it's about, being able to be the answer to your client's problem, and that's including us. So if you understand who you are and the answer that you're solving, the problem that you're solving, you know exactly who you need to be talking to. And when you're even talking to someone, you can decipher whether or not you have that answer to them. And you don't have to necessarily waste a lot of time trying to figure that out because you understand, okay, I got that answer to that problem. I can solve this person's problem. This is a client for me because I know that I can solve their problem. Um,
Right.
and
And
then the
to
last,
throw
go
in
ahead.
there, Leroy, to add to that is that um, it is really important to make a first impression. You can lose a client in like a split second, or I think what I was trying to say is really important that before you approach anybody for them to be your client, to really understand who they are because first impressions is key. You can literally turn somebody off in a matter of seconds. A matter of seconds. Just like to his point, if this guy had not given him excellent service, even though this person is a husband of his client, right? If it was bad service on any you know what I'm saying?
Uh,
But you can lose a client in an instant just walking up to them and even just trying to do your 30-second pitch. So if you go to an event, learn everything you need to know about the event before you go so you can get
right,
in your mind, in your
right,
brain,
right.
what type of mindset are these people in when they're in the room? They're not thinking about buying anything, but you need to understand why they are there. Why did they spend the money for that ticket to go to that event? And when you go there, you have to understand why they're to your elevator pitch to that person. Okay?
And
So
and don't
right,
be
go ahead.
afraid to don't be afraid to do your research on events that you're going to so that you know who's going to be in the room,
Right.
and
Be
because
it
that's going to answer your question, do you need to be in that room? Because if your target market isn't in that room, then you're just wasting your time going to that particular event. So
spend
you
money.
you definitely, yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you do your research on events that you go to. If they've had prior events similar to that, then you want to go back and find out the information that you can, or if you know people who have gone to it before, hit them up and say, hey, you went to, I saw you, did you go to such and such event before? How was it? What was the turnout? You know, so you want to make sure that you definitely do your research, and that's on even on the clients that you may take on. You want to make sure that you do, and especially business to business clients, you want to make sure that you do your homework, and being able on the with businesses, and with the because going to events, that's a business to business, because people who host these events are usually other businesses that are hosting these events. So you want to make sure that these folks are doing what they say that they're doing, and that it's worth you spending your time
So
going to the things the events that they're putting on, and make sure that you understand what it is that you can bring to the room, because you not only want to find out who's in the room, you want to be part of the important people in the room, so that people can
right,
come to you when you're in the room. Because if folks know who you are and know what you do, who you think they're going to be referring people to in that room? I'll give you an example. I went to a conference last year, and I'm talking to a couple of the individuals in the room, and I introduced myself to one of the attendees, and she said, "Oh, I know you." She said, I've heard a lot about you. I didn't know her from Adam, but people had talked about me, and the work that I do and the business that I do. So when she actually got she heard my name and got and me introducing myself, she already knew who I was. So you got to really be careful, make sure that you're doing what you want to do, and that you know who it is that you are, and the answer that you the problems that you solve.
Okay. So, okay, April has a question. This is a really
Uh,
good one. When you are first starting out, how do you know who are the movers and shakers in the room? Would you recommend Google searches? Now, here's the thing. That's the tricky thing. And I would say that you will never really know who the movers and shakers are, right? You're not going to know exactly who's in the room, but here's a way that you can find out what type of people will be in the room, right? Whoever's doing the speaking, whoever they invited to be their keynote speaker, whoever the company is that is hosting the event and their mission, you go and you look at their mission and their vision, and then you look at the type of people who they are having as a keynote speaker or panelist, and you definitely will go and look them up. And when you look at the holistic of like the whole panel of the event, it will give you an indication of what type of people will be attracted to go to that event. You see what I'm saying? So if you having something like a women's empowerment, then you know that that person who's going to be speaking is going to be empowerment speaker. There might be somebody who's a life coach or something like that. And then you look at the other people and you got a pretty good idea. Okay, this is going to be for women who's having some issues and they want to feel empowered and they want to do this, they want to do that. Then you already know that the type of women that's going to be there, that's where their mind is going to be. So and then here's the thing, when you do get there to the event and you start networking with people, that's when you're going to find out who's a mover, who's a shaker, who's a this, because some of the people that will show up there may all have it going on but still have some issues and need some women empowerment, and that's when you will meet that person just by being in the room and just introducing yourself with just being yourself, being a female, being an individual, and just kind of learning who they are. And then once they learn who you are, that's when you'll find out who's a mover, who's a shaker, who's just listening, who's just following, who's just in the room because their cousin in the room. You'll find out so much stuff once you're in the room.
and
And I
here's
hope
the go ahead.
question.
No, go ahead. And here's the thing too, just to add on to that too, April. What you want to do is you want to make sure that when you are, because it's not just about the people that are speaking, but it's also about the people that are in the audience. And
Right.
what you want to do is in your to find out who the movers and shakers are, or even if someone is a mover or shaker in the room, you just want to make sure because you're not going to know until you start asking questions. But the key thing is develop a core couple of questions that you want to ask individuals that you when you introduce yourself to, and instead of asking someone what they do, you can ask them, like I said, what problem do they solve. I'm gonna get that to say that to you again. Ask them when you introduce yourself, when you instead of asking someone what is it that they do, you ask them what problem is it that they solve, and that way you get to find out who they are, because most people aren't used to hearing somebody ask them what problem do they solve. I guarantee you, I've never asked, I've never had anybody ask me what problem do I solve. But
Yeah. Then
being able to ask that question to the individuals that are in the room will tell you who the movers and shakers are. So you want to develop a core couple of questions, because it doesn't have to be a whole list of questions, but you have a core couple of questions that you can ask to people when you're introducing them, when you're introducing yourself to them, and you have the answer as well to that question. What problem do you solve? Because you're going to
mhm,
ask them, because they may turn around and ask you that same question. So you want to make sure that you have the answer to that question. What problem do
right.
you solve? Or you can say, how do you serve? How do you serve? How is it that you serve others?
Right. That's a really good one.
Yeah. So those are just a couple of questions that you can ask people in order to be able to find out who they are and what they do without asking them that general question that everybody asks. Oh, how, what is it that you do? You ask them in that kind of way, and it gives you can get a very specific answer. And that was the last thing about the that I was going to get into about always be closing, understanding that how you close your clients, or make them go from a prospective client to an actual client, is you
Hmm.
want to make sure you answer this question for them. how you can serve them. How do you serve them? How can you serve them? And that's very important because if a person feels as if you are going to serve them well, then they will more than likely do business with you. If you have the answer to their problem and they feel as if you're going to serve them, that you're serving them and not selling them, serving versus
Right.
selling, like you talked about, Ed, you got to serve, not sell. I'm
Mm-hmm.
serving you by solving your problem, being the answer to your problem. So somebody can write that down for me. I'm gonna give that to y'all. Serve, not sell. You go
That's right.
serve, not sell.
Do some
Okay.
homework. I'm gonna do some homework at the end of this thing. It's going to be interesting.
I know, right? Give me some thumbs up or hearts if y'all like that one. Serve, not sell. But
I want
how you going to serve your clients? So that's
and
very important.
now this is the most important. I'm gonna say that like 1,000 times, right? You have to be honest. You cannot exaggerate elevator pitch. You just can't do it. It just can't happen. Okay. Let me tell you something. I had too many people walk up to me trying to exaggerate what they do in hope of trying to impress me. People who are in business are not that easily impressed because everybody is a CEO, everybody is a marketing manager, everybody is a coach, everybody is everything, right? This really just boils down to just simple value in your elevator pitch on, because this is how you convert a client into a paid customer. Because think about it, if you look at my podcast, for example, I am giving a platform to those who need it. So I am solving a problem. It's not really a problem, but it is a need. So what I did was I found a need and I turned it into a service. People saw the
I think you're
value in it,
freezing up,
right?
Ann. I think
And then
your
once they
phone.
saw the value,
I think
yeah,
your feet is
and then value, then they decided for themselves whether or not, I know he'll be back. He'll be back. He's somewhere with his low thing. But once you see the value in the service that I provide, then you made the decision. Am I going to join in on what Ann's doing? Or am I going to find somebody who's going to give me something more valuable than what Ann is giving? Okay. So when you're doing your 30, what is that you're offering? It looks like we lost Leroy, but we want to keep going, right? um, because if you're not transparent in what you're doing, they are going to just see right through you, right? They're going to see right through you. They're going to read between the lines. They're not going to take you seriously. They're going to say, oh, okay, that's cool, that's nice, and I'll be in touch. And they're going to exchange business cards, and then they will never return your call. They will never return your email. Trust me, it happened to me doing my first business. I did not know how to do my elevator pitch, and I had to actually work at how do I redefine and not sell, but serve. And once I figured that out, then I was able to like get clients. I was able to get paid for stuff. I was able to build long lasting relationships. And some of those relationships turned into greater relationships like sponsors or people who want to collaborate with me. And that's what you want in the end. That's what you want in the end, to have somebody to say, I really trust what this person is telling me. I really love how this person is transparent and letting me know what they can and cannot do. And I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and like blew they did the elevator pitch and it's like over the top, right? But they're not being real with me. They're not getting to know me as a person so that they can serve me or help. And I did a post like what last month where this person was sending me a newsletter every month for services. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to call this person. So I called the person and I said, hey, I'm calling in response to your newsletter that you offer these services and I want to know more. And he literally just blew the whole 30 seconds pitch and he literally was just going there saying, hey, you know what? I don't know what I can offer you and this and that and the other. And I'm like, okay, you just lost me as a customer. Now I'm gone. He would never get my business. That's not what you want. You want to make sure that you go down the line, like we said in the video, and I'll do a summary because it looks like we're getting almost out of time. You want to be very consistent. It's hard work. I'm not going to lie. You have to be in the room. You have to understand who's going to be in the room. Check out the organization. Check out who they have speaking. Think about the type of audience that's going to be in there. Figure out who are you really marketing to? What ages are there? What are their behaviors? What do they like? What do they don't like? Um, Figure out how you're going to get your product in a way that's going to service the people that you're targeting, because you can't target everybody. So you got to figure out who exactly are you going to do. And I'm going to give you guys homework. So your homework for this thing and is going to be one. I want you to do that little exercise I talked about where you're going to make two columns. You're going to say woman, and you're going to put the age between the low age and mid range and mid to high range. And you're going to do that for men and women. And you're actually going to take your service and put it at the top, your service or your product at the top. And you're going to break it down. Who are you targeting? What do they like? What happens if you try to give them your service? How are their behaviors going to be? Are they going to be mean? Are they going to be receptive? Really dig deep to figure out who is your target, right? Okay, I think Leroy is trying to come back. Let me see if I can get him back on here. Let's see. Oh, I can't get him back. Oh, no. Oh, wait. I think I could get it back. Don't leave us, y'all. Don't leave us. Let me see if I can. I can't get him back. It's not allowing me to because it only sent an invite. I'm sorry, Leroy. Yes, if you're not, yes, you have a question. If I'm not able to make your events, are you going to post them? Yes, we are posting all the Facebook Live ones. Still here. Yes, we're still here. We're going to post all of the Facebook Live videos in the video tab of this group so that you can always watch them. You can always check us out on our YouTube page and things like that. And I will be posting some slides in this group because we now have all three videos. You guys should be able to pick up some of the slides and really like put this information into action. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me, reach out to Leroy. We will be happy to help you with whatever it is that you're trying to do for your small business. I always want to remind people also that we are having a small business meetup at Cloud Workstation and this is the one for the women's now because I'm having two in March. I'm having one for the women. So if you are in the DC, Maryland area and you would like to come out to Capitol Heights, Maryland, to come out for this really small women's entrepreneur startup strategy. And basically what we're going to do is really just sit down, talk about your business, figure out what you need. And this is not just going to be a one-time group. This is actually going to be a group that I'm developing for women entrepreneurs. So if you need help with your business plan, or you need help with getting funding, or if you need help doing something, I want this group to be a group where we can pull each other up. So if you are available from 6 to 8:30 on March the 13th, and the calendar is in the calendar, please come out for that. We have very limited seating. I'm trying to keep it under 15 to 20 people so that we can really get the group going. And then I'm also having a small business networking meetup. So if you're in the area and you want to meet new businesses, come out on the 27th and bring your business cards. And this is a great time, great time for you to do your elevator pitch. So if you're looking to meet new businesses to help your business, that's where you want to be, in the room. And also I want to remind folks that I am doing a women's dinner on April the 13th. Now, it's just not just empowerment, guys. It is also to help you with your business. So if your vision is to do something with your business, come out to the I Am a Visionary Woman women's dinner. Not only are you going to get that, but you're also going to get food, you're going to get gift bags, you're going to get all kinds of information. I have 3 speakers lined up. It's only $25. It's not going to break anybody, but it is going to be something that is tremendously going to help your business. So I'm going to let everybody go because it's 7:03, and I want to thank everybody who joined in. And again, if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me, reach out to Leroy, and also stay tuned to more broadcasts like this in this group. So I want to say good night to everybody, and thank you so much for joining.